My personal take is like you have to order a steak medium. You know, I think it's a sin to order it well.
If you order it well, you're gonna get thrown down one. Welcome back, Roman Roads, the Medleys.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.
We're talking about meat.
Yes, we're talking about meat.
Meat
Steaks
season.
in particular.
Okay, so basically, guy, the Yosef here, asked about what's the best way to order a steak. Like, was it SteakHouse
Etiquette.
etiquettes?
Yes.
Yeah. What came about talking about like if you're at a nicer steakhouse and they send you, boom, you get your meat on the table. Is it wrong to add the A1 or any sauce to it? And we said, what was your point?
I said it depends on what you... Yeah, the higher quality meat usually doesn't need sauce, and it kind of depends on your taste. And the whole thing was Joseph asked if there were some steak houses that you would go and they wouldn't have sauce at all. Then what do you do in that occasion? Because wasn't there one football player or sports figure who got arrested or something?
Okay, yeah, that's
what was that story?
They put the steak on there, there's a sauce on, and they're like, no, that you're in Texas, sir. That is a felony. But basically, the guy went to a nicer steakhouse. They don't carry sauces there. He ordered A1. They're like, no, we don't got A1 here. He's like, well, can somebody go get me some? I really like A1 on all my steaks. They're like, no, our steak is so good. You don't need A1. Also, you can't bring stuff from outside of the restaurant into it.
No,
and the whole problem was he walked away from the restaurant, bought A1, and was trying to bring it back in. And then I guess became aggressive, or just like the fact you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to bring stuff into the restaurant, like food wise. And that makes sense, especially in the higher ones. They tell you if you're not dressed right, no shoes, no shirt, no service. That's a hygiene thing. But then there's also, what is it? Tuck, like if it was like a black tie or like expected to dress a certain way.
Sports coat kind of thing. It's perfectly reasonable for the restaurant to have
those rules. But the point is, in general,
yes.
Say I'm the master cook. Mm-hmm. That chef goes home, right? And he gets people over. And I guess it's like, okay, cut that out of the occasion. How am I going to enjoy this steak if I only like steaks with A1? Mm-hmm. So anyway, the turd nugget was saying if it's rare or medium rare, he can't eat it because it's all bloody looking. And it's psychological. Now, you could even admit it might not be the taste, but it's the psychological thing. And honestly, with that, you're not going to be able to get over it if you can't. So just enjoy the steaks you want. As a matter of fact, I know Donald Trump got in trouble. People said, not in trouble, but people were like, oh, this guy likes burnt, crispy steaks with ketchup on it.
Yes, he was criticized for that.
Even in Texas, apparently the most common way to have steak is well done. That means like it's going to be sort of dry,
cooked to a minimum of 165 degrees. That means it's fully cooked throughout.
And
which
it's safe to eat.
Meats like chicken and pork should be cooked to those temperatures because it kills all bacteria.
And they're bacteria laden because they eat the caca.
Yes. And beef, usually you don't have to because it doesn't carry those same pathogens.
Fun fact, you could eat raw beef called steak tartare, and in fact tartar sauce you said was invented specifically to put on that.
Made for tartar sauce.
That was like tartare. Because that was like sometimes the meat would still turn a little bit, and this way it would cover it up.
And it would mask the sour flavor.
Which is weird because it's like if you've ever had a steak going just a little bit bad, it's kind of delicious.
But the steak tartare is still served, in high class restaurants without any sauce or whatever because it's tender. And here's the thing, I looked into it about steak sauce and where it comes from, and like I figured before we looked into it was that most sauces are made to accompany food, but usually like now we have steak sauce. I figured it wasn't originally made specifically for steaks.
It was made for.
It was just made to season all kinds of food
because everything sucked back in the day.
It was made in the 1820s. A1,
everything was
according to the website I found, was made in the 1820s for King George.
I believe that because like back in the day, seasonings were more expensive, and A1 was made out of a bunch of other common sauces. I know Worcestershire sauce is a main ingredient of it.
Anchovies.
I
think mustard.
They literally just put. It sounds like they just added. We don't have enough sauce to cover his steak. Just throw it all together and see if it's delicious. And of course, it was.
Yeah. And like any other sauces, like any Béarnaise sauce or
what's a Béarnaise sauce?
Shoot, I don't remember what the Béarnaise is, but like a bechamel, which is a cream sauce. used for gravies and are cheese sauces. So sauces usually are made for foods to enhance the flavor or cover up flavors that are undesirable. And to make food more appetizing.
Let's be honest. If you go to a grocery store and they got a ton of seasoning on the meat, chances are it was turning green. Fun fact, though, that doesn't mean it's bad.
It just might taste off.
Yeah.
However, in the 1920s, 1930s, that's when
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, specifically steak sauce, what we now think of steak sauce, was marketed as
steak. We think before it was just a sauce you put on whatevs. But now it's like, I think it's because people were getting jobs. That was the boom, right? Yeah. Industrial boom. And that's whenever, before, it's like if you lived on a coast, you probably weren't going to get really fresh meat. That's whenever the train system got a lot better and they started refrigeration technologies, man, to ship beef. And that was a big part of the Industrial Revolution. That now meat was cheap enough to transport that a lot more people could eat it. They didn't have the high quality taste buds and not every place could cook it to a good standard. So it just makes sense.
Yes. So now, I was reading that it's kind of rare that most steakhouses don't offer steak sauces. There was like this big...
Which is all well and done, but...
but the whole thing of like most steakhouses that wouldn't offer steak sauces was because they were serving prime cuts of beef.
Yeah.
And so it was more tender, and it didn't need that extra sauce to make it moist.
But if you do need a sauce and they don't serve one, here's a little tip. You want to fancy it up a bit. Say you're more familiar with eating, well done or just straight medium well steaks, but you want the sauce. They don't have it. Ask for the au jus sauce. Now that's basically just the sauce from the juices from the steak. Am I mistaken? And if they're making steak, they have that sauce there. They'll put it in a little container. You might want to ask for a little bit more, and don't pour it on the steak. Let me tell you, cut that steak and you dip that in there. So good.
There was some move in the culinary world back a few years ago where it was like the whole sauce thing kind of boomed.
It got real pretentious, and also too the meat, like how you're cooking it. Yeah, you gotta get extra pretentious about it.
But most chefs then, in order to please customers who were asking for steak sauces, they would make their own sauces. So now most of the time, if you go to steakhouses, they're gonna have sauces. Just
like
depends to a piece of customer.
Like their Pacific restaurant.
Yeah, like the chef would produce his own sauce. A riff on A1 or Heinz 57 or whatever.
Heinz 57 is atrocious. I know people who can't eat their sauce without it. It's basically vinegary ketchup. Now that being said, though, like those people love it, man. I wish I could enjoy a steak like that.
But that's the weird thing. Some people like ketchup on the steak, and that's like considered the ultimate sin.
Which is funny. If you think about all the ingredients that go into ketchup, they're all classy ingredients. You got onions, tomatoes, all the base. It's super basic ingredients, and it's just somehow it just became somebody was making tomato soup one day, and it's just like coagulation. No, oh my god, boom, everything goes in here.
I know some chefs are even like no ketchup on hamburgers.
Yeah.
So
ketchup seems to be just like it's considered the bastard sauce. People don't want to put it on hot dogs. Hamburgers is a big. I guess I hadn't heard about that, but I believe it.
It's only relegated to French fries.
Canadians love ketchup so much they have ketchup flavored potato chips as a regular seasoning. Different brands, you can go. Lay's even does ketchup potato chips up there because of that.
Really, that's
also,
interesting.
Fun fact, if you used to be in prison and you really enjoyed those shebang potato chips or whatever, look for all dressed seasoning. It basically means all the seasonings put together, thrown on a chip, and that's what the shebangs are. Boom.
That's interesting.
Seasoning foods.
For all our prison fans.
We're all watching in prison. So, going back to the cuts of beef, or the...
Top grain.
So cutting back to the grades of beef.
USDA, by the way.
Yes, USDA grades the beef. So there's prime, there's choice, there's select, and then there's a few others under select. But prime is usually
what you're gonna get at a restaurant. The other ones you're gonna get at grocery stores, and
most grocery stores will carry prime, but that's like the best beef you can get. It comes from young, well-fed cows, and the thing is that it has a lot of marbling, which is the fat running through the meat.
USDA's classification, which means that's what you're going to get here in America. If you go to the UK, entire different classification systems, theirs is actually set USD, like said as in like every restaurant or place that has meat and they tell you what the kind of meat it is, that's what it has to be. USDA, Prime Choice Select, and other grading systems entirely voluntary. In fact, if it says Prime Choice Select or whatever on it without the USD approval, it's legal, but it's like it's not actually their standards.
Yeah. But I know there's a lot of high-end... See, the whole thing was that high-end restaurants or steakhouses were serving only prime grades of beef. Mm-hmm. So therefore, see, what the marbling does, the fat in there adds flavor and it adds tenderness. So it tastes better, you know? Tenderness. Now, I think most of the beef that we get in restaurants, the more widely ones that you'll see is choice.
I think it's select.
Is it select? I think I've seen a lot of choice.
I'm not saying that I've got this from like a set fact, but I believe that it is select.
It doesn't mean that it's worse. It just means that it's leaner. There's less fat, therefore less flavor. So, and it also depends on what you're gonna cook.
Yeah, how you cook it too. The restaurant.
And, yes.
Honestly, like, let's be fair. If you get a prime piece of beef at just like what is it, like a Chili's, it's probably going to taste worse than a select grade of beef cooked at some place that's got like, a potential Michelin star, not even a full one. Or just like a really well-known chef, because you say that it's usually it's a less meat, less fat, so you have to cook it differently. You can make a select without any fat, the most juicy steak you've ever had, but that's all going to rely on your skills as a cook.
And that's the thing, choice and select grades of beef are best for like braising or slow cooking methods.
Oh, like you could put in like a crock pot, right?
Like in liquid, and cooking like that. Mm-hmm. So like something like a roast beef.
You don't want to smoke it because this can turn into a brick.
Exactly.
I've done that.
Exactly. Or I think even like a brisket. You want to slow cook that, and that's where you get the tenderness from. Prime is perfect for like that sear on one side, sear on the other, serve it like that. That's where you're going to get the most potential of it.
That's where you're going to get like the, what is it? You've heard the, what is it? All right, so rare, which is like a quick cut, what is it? Cook on it?
Pink in the middle, or red in the middle, right? Kind of reddish, pinkish in the middle.
But there is a layer above that. I think it's called like something blue. And basically it means it's like, or it's also, I think it's also called Philadelphia something style. Basically you get the grill or the fire super freaking hot. You're going to throw it on there and it's going to almost char that first layer. But whenever you pop it off, it's still going to be a little blue or purple, the meat. Like it'll still have like a very much fresh meat cut look to it. But because beef's a pretty good quality, meat, you should be able to eat it and it's delicious. Cooked right, seasoned right. Where's tartare come from? What cut?
Tartare?
Like, how do I want that? Do I want a prime beef of tartare meat?
I'm not sure. I didn't read it that deep into the tartare thing.
I do know as well, like you said, it's unseasoned, but some people do like it with a bit of like salt drizzled on top and maybe a little oil.
Tartare, usually they mix in some stuff in it now. Can make it a little fancy.
Super thin cut.
Yes. So, and I was reading about like some chefs why they don't like to give sauces or whatever. They said that most restaurants now, like I said, they're offering sauces.
They're pretentious.
But they see that most customers who order sauce with their steak are ordering their steaks cooked either well done or medium well.
Yeah,
so the people who order it rare, medium rare, they're not asking for sauce as much because it's already tender and it already has enough flavor. Yeah. So it's not necessary.
And the juices.
So when Joe was asking, should I ask for steak sauce or what? It's kind of up to you. I mean, if you order,
up to you. It's America, man.
Yeah,
get what you want.
I'm saying, get what you want.
I'm gonna tell you too, man. Before I knew the ways of cooking, I had myself. It was a rare chicken. Okay, I cooked myself some chicken. I had the metabolism of a young boy. I could handle it, but oh my god, it was like the chickeniest tasting meat ever. It was delicious. My stomach, I could handle it at the time. Okay.
How'd you fare with the salmonella afterwards?
Perfect, man. Like I said, I had that iron gut. It's like I could handle it. I would not recommend it. Salmonella is serious. You could die from it.
Yeah.
But man, it's like this hidden jewel. Same thing with pork, man. Oh, I've had raw bacon. No, admittedly, most bacons are cooked prior.
They're smoked.
So they can cook. Yeah, so you're pretty good with it. But it just feels like there's this hidden world of like, I don't want to say dumpster food, but it's dangerous food. It's dangerous, man. And it's so good. I mean, think about it this way. If you're going to go to Japan and eat like blowfish chopped up, with a risk of paralysis, if you want to do that, but first try some raw chicken or pork, man. Live a little here before you travel abroad. So good.
So I'm gonna give you the same advice that I would give to Joe that I gave to Joe earlier. If you go out to a steakhouse, it's okay. I guess it's okay if you like well done or medium.
It's popular, honestly. People are gonna talk about meat gatekeepers.
But
eat the food you want.
But it's probably not gonna be the tenderest. It's not gonna be the most flavorful.
They might cook it wrong to be jerks, honestly.
So I mean, I would suggest try at least try once rare or medium rare. I usually get medium rare, and I do enjoy A1 sauce, but I don't use it as much. It's just like a little here and there. To be honest, when I get a steak like that, I do when I can get it. I do enjoy prime rib, medium rare, with some au jus, no sauce, maybe some horseradish sauce.
Oh yeah, surprisingly. What do you mean some flavor? It's a freaking steak. The whole thing's made of flavor.
To add some more flavor.
How do you put horseradish sauce on a steak? What do? Like you squeeze a bottle or you get a little side?
They used to send in a little ramekin on the side. You just get a little sauce.
Put it on the steak? That just seems too much to me. That's the one thing where it just seems like it would overwhelm it. That's a burny sauce. I'd rather have jalapeno on my steak.
You could do that too. Jalapeno steak is really good.
Yeah, jalapeno jam. Yeah, as a marinade, it's super delicious. But really,
not horseradish sauce. I've had it before, but I didn't eat it on every piece of steak. It was just like a little, almost like a palate.
Yeah, just on a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
How? The thing whenever that cleanser, that's like paint thinner. Just being on the table, it would be a lot. It's a powerful flavor.
Try it sometime. You'll like it.
I will try it.
So don't be afraid of trying new things. I guess that's the thing too. And you were going to say how to enjoy
Okay, so
something?
if you do want to, you go to a steak place and you might want to, style it up a bit. I'm not going to tell you which end to eat. I will tell you, okay, T-bone steak, it's going to have both the filet, which is the tender part, and the smaller section. The bigger part would be called the New York strip. Whenever they're cut separate, the New York part's bigger, but it's going to be a little bit more, tough, but not in a bad way. It's just it's not as soft as the filet part. You're still super going to enjoy it, most likely, though. You want to add a little bit more flavor, ask them to do double seasonings. You want a sauce and you're worried about asking about A1, ask for the au jus. That's basically just the steak drippings on it.
Or get some of the butter, the seasoned butter that they'll put on top. That just adds enough flavor, richness, the moisture.
That's another one that people will give you smack for, butter on a steak. It's delicious. Add it. And if you can, they might not have it available because somebody else might have asked for it already. Ask for the end cut of the steak. That's just the very tippity part. Might taper off a lot more. Tends to be a little bit crispier, but it's usually a lot more seasoned too. Or like I said, if you can't get that, ask for double seasoning.
Yeah.
Flavor it up.
And I mean, if you like to go to places like Longhorn Steakhouse or, order a steak at Chili's, if that's what you like, that's what you like. That's perfectly fine.
They're going to judge you on it.
Yeah, but if you want to go to a high-end restaurant, steakhouse, the highest quality.
Some people, that is the high-end. I'll say, man, I'm broke enough. Chili's is high-end for me. I know it's not high-end, though.
If you want to save up a little money and go to that, enjoy yourself. But maybe do a little homework on what would be the best to order.
Gotta Google it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of great points we made there. Lots of awesome ideas, but you might not think so. Let us know what you feel. Please like and share the videos, and you can find more on
Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and here on our YouTube channel.
Thanks, guys.